Noah stepped into the quiet hallway of the Glee's 581C research vessel. The air felt colder than usual. He had just come from the decontamination shower after fixing a coolant valve, and his clothes were still in the drying chamber. Wrapped only in a thin towel, he carried his uniform in a plastic bag, planning to change in the crew quarters. The ship was usually empty in this section, so he didn't expect to meet anyone. The lights above flickered slightly. He shook his head and smiled. The ship always had something to complain about. As an engineer, Noah had learned to live with its quirks. He moved quietly, hoping to reach his room without running into anyone. His footsteps were soft on the metal floor, and the low-hum machinery filled the silence. At the same moment, Lyra and Sela, the alien twins from the Telari species, entered the same hallway from the opposite side. The Telari were known for their pale blue skin, glowing eyes, and long, silky hair. Unlike humans, they didn't wear many clothes. Their culture didn't see nudity the way humans did. The sisters had been reassigned to this part of the ship temporarily after a storage unit in their old quarters malfunctioned. Lyra was chatting softly with Sela, both holding small storage containers. They turned a corner and stopped. Noah stopped too. The moment froze. Lyra's eyes widened. Her gaze dropped to the towel and then to the hand that held it. She blinked in confusion. Sela gasped and turned her head quickly. Noah's face turned red as he took a step back. "I didn't know anyone was here," Noah said, trying to keep the towel in place. Lyra tilted her head slightly, still looking at him. Her eyes moved slowly from his chest to his legs. Her expression was not embarrassed, but clearly curious. "You're different," she said. "We're so sorry," Sela said quickly, keeping her back to him. "We didn't know humans were clothed in water sections." Noah finished awkwardly. "Yeah, usually no one comes here." Lyra stepped forward, ignoring her sister's warning glance. "Is that what all human males look like?" Noah stared at her, not knowing what to say. He tightened the towel around his waist. "Lyra, stop staring," Sela whispered harshly. "I'm not staring. I'm observing," Lyra said calmly. Noah gave a weak laugh. "Can I please go change now?" Sela nodded. "Yes, of course. Go." Noah quickly walked past them, feeling their eyes on his back. When he reached the door to his room, he nearly ran inside. Later that day, he sat at the mess hall, still embarrassed. He stirred his food, trying to forget the morning. "Hey," a soft voice said. He looked up. It was Lyra. She stood with a plate of food and a neutral look on her face. "Can I sit?" He nodded slowly. "Sure." She sat across from him. Her eyes were calm now, less intense than earlier. "I didn't mean to make you uncomfortable," she said. "It's okay," he replied. "You just surprised me. We don't usually react that way to seeing someone, but I've never seen a human male up close." "I noticed," he said, smiling a little. Lyra tilted her head. "Are all humans shy about their bodies?" "Some are. We just grow up learning to cover up. It's part of our culture." Lyra nodded slowly. "It's so different from ours. I wonder how many other things we do differently." Noah looked at her and shrugged. "Probably a lot." She smiled. "Maybe we can talk more about it. To avoid more surprises." He laughed. "Yeah, that might be a good idea." At a table nearby, Sela watched them quietly. She didn't speak, but her eyes stayed on her sister and the human. That night, Noah lay in bed and thought about what happened. He was still embarrassed, but also curious. Lyra hadn't laughed. She had stared, yes, but not to make fun of him. There was something else in her look. Wonder, maybe. He didn't know what would come next. But he was sure things would not be the same between them again. The next morning, Noah woke up early. He couldn't stop thinking about Lyra. Her words, her questions, and her calm eyes stayed in his mind. He had never met anyone like her. She was curious but not rude, strange but not unfriendly. He got dressed and walked to the engine bay to start his daily work. He liked working with machines. They didn't judge or get confused. But today, even the engines couldn't take his mind off the twins. While he checked the power grid, his comm device beeped. He looked down and saw a message. It was from the station's command office. All crew members involved in cultural misunderstandings were to attend a workshop. Noah sighed. He already guessed what it was about. A few hours later, he stood outside the small conference room. The door opened and he stepped inside. Lyra and Sela were already there. A human officer and a Telari advisor sat near the front. The room was quiet. "Please, take a seat," the officer said. Noah sat down across from the twins. Sela avoided his eyes. Lyra looked at him and gave a small nod. The Telari advisor stood up. "This workshop is not a punishment. It is a learning session. We want to help both species understand each other better." The officer nodded. "Yes, and after the hallway incident, it seems we need better cultural awareness." Noah shifted uncomfortably in his seat. The advisor continued. "The Telari are used to open spaces and little clothing. We do not see the body as something to hide, but we understand humans do. This difference can cause confusion." Sela spoke for the first time. "It was my fault. I should not have walked in without warning." "No," Lyra said gently. "It was a shared space. We just didn't expect anyone else there." Noah raised a hand. "It's okay. It was an accident. I just didn't expect anyone to stare." Lyra looked straight at him. "I wasn't staring to be rude. I was trying to understand." "I know," Noah said, feeling the heat rise in his cheeks again. The officer smiled. "This is good. Open talk helps. We like each of you to share one thing about your culture that might seem strange to others." Noah took a deep breath. "Well, humans wear clothes for many reasons, not just warmth. We also feel shy without them. Some say it's respect. Some say it's habit." Lyra nodded. "That makes sense. Telari, on the other hand, believes showing the body is being honest. We don't hide who we are." Sela added, "And we grow up seeing each other that way, so we don't feel shy." The workshop went on for an hour. At the end, the officer gave them all a small task. "We want you to spend some time together this week. Learn something new from each other, not as an order, but as a way to grow." Later that day, Noah sat in the garden dome. It was one of his favorite places on the ship. It had real plants and soft lights that mimicked sunlight. The air smelled clean. He watched the leaves move gently in the breeze. He heard footsteps and looked up. Lyra walked in, holding 2 cups. "Thought you might like something warm," she said, handing him a cup. He smiled. "Thanks." She sat beside him. They both looked at the plants for a while. "I like this place," she said. "It reminds me of home." "Do you miss it?" "Sometimes. It was loud and bright, but I miss the sounds. Our skies had singing birds, though not like yours." Noah took a sip from his cup. "I've never been to another world. Just Earth." Lyra looked at him. "Would you like to see mine someday?" He blinked. "Maybe. Yeah, I think I would." She smiled. "Then maybe one day I'll show you." They sat in silence for a bit. Then she turned to him. "I have more questions, if you don't mind." He laughed. "Go ahead. Why do human males grow hair on their faces?" He chuckled. "It just happens when we grow up. Some shave it, some don't." "Interesting," she said, watching him with a soft look. "Do you shave?" "Sometimes. When I remember." She nodded, clearly storing the answer. Just then, Sela entered the dome. She saw them and walked over. "Are we having a study session?" she asked. Lyra smiled. "Something like that." Sela sat on the other side of Noah. "Then I'll join too, but no staring." Noah laughed. "Deal." As the 3 of them talked, the stars above the dome grew brighter. A strange meeting had turned into a strange friendship, and for now that was enough. The next morning, Noah woke up early. He couldn't stop thinking about Lyra. Her words, her questions, and her calm eyes stayed in his mind. He had never met anyone like her. She was curious but not rude, strange but not unfriendly. He got dressed and walked to the engine bay to start his daily work. He liked working with machines. They didn't judge or get confused. But today, even the engines couldn't take his mind off the twins. While he checked the power grid, his comm device beeped. He looked down and saw a message. It was from the station's command office. All crew members involved in cultural misunderstandings were to attend a workshop. Noah sighed. He already guessed what it was about. A few hours later, he stood outside the small conference room. The door opened and he stepped inside. Lyra and Sela were already there. A human officer and a Telari advisor sat near the front. The room was quiet. "Please, take a seat," the officer said. Noah sat down across from the twins. Sela avoided his eyes. Lyra looked at him and gave a small nod. The Telari advisor stood up. "This workshop is not a punishment. It is a learning session. We want to help both species understand each other better." The officer nodded. "Yes, and after the hallway incident, it seems we need better cultural awareness." Noah shifted uncomfortably in his seat. The advisor continued. "The Telari are used to open spaces and little clothing. We do not see the body as something to hide, but we understand humans do. This difference can cause confusion." Sela spoke for the first time. "It was my fault. I should not have walked in without warning." "No," Lyra said gently. "It was a shared space. We just didn't expect anyone else there." Noah raised a hand. "It's okay. It was an accident. I just didn't expect anyone to stare." Lyra looked straight at him. "I wasn't staring to be rude. I was trying to understand." "I know," Noah said, feeling the heat rise in his cheeks again. The officer smiled. "This is good. Open talk helps. We like each of you to share one thing about your culture that might seem strange to others." Noah took a deep breath. "Well, humans wear clothes for many reasons, not just warmth. We also feel shy without them. Some say it's respect. Some say it's habit." Lyra nodded. "That makes sense. Telari, on the other hand, believes showing the body is being honest. We don't hide who we are." Sela added, "And we grow up seeing each other that way, so we don't feel shy." The workshop went on for an hour. At the end, the officer gave them all a small task. "We want you to spend some time together this week. Learn something new from each other, not as an order, but as a way to grow." Later that day, Noah sat in the garden dome. It was one of his favorite places on the ship. It had real plants and soft lights that mimicked sunlight. The air smelled clean. He watched the leaves move gently in the breeze. He heard footsteps and looked up. Lyra walked in, holding 2 cups. "Thought you might like something warm," she said, handing him a cup. He smiled. "Thanks." She sat beside him. They both looked at the plants for a while. "I like this place," she said. "It reminds me of home." "Do you miss it?" "Sometimes. It was loud and bright, but I miss the sounds. Our skies had singing birds, though not like yours." Noah took a sip from his cup. "I've never been to another world. Just Earth." Lyra looked at him. "Would you like to see mine someday?" He blinked. "Maybe. Yeah, I think I would." She smiled. "Then maybe one day I'll show you." They sat in silence for a bit. Then she turned to him. "I have more questions, if you don't mind." He laughed. "Go ahead. Why do human males grow hair on their faces?" He chuckled. "It just happens when we grow up. Some shave it, some don't." "Interesting," she said, watching him with a soft look. "Do you shave?" "Sometimes. When I remember." She nodded, clearly storing the answer. Just then, Sela entered the dome. She saw them and walked over. "Are we having a study session?" she asked. Lyra smiled. "Something like that." Sela sat on the other side of Noah. "Then I'll join too, but no staring." Noah laughed. "Deal." As the 3 of them talked, the stars above the dome grew brighter. A strange meeting had turned into a strange friendship, and for now that was enough. A few days later, Noah was in the garden dome again. He liked it there because it was quiet and full of green life. He sat near a small tree, reading a report on his tablet. He heard the soft sound of the door opening and looked up. It was Lyra. She walked over with a calm smile and sat next to him. "You always sit here," she said. "It's my favorite spot," Noah replied. "Peaceful." She looked around. "Yes, I like the smell of these plants. Earth plants are strong. We made sure to bring plants that could survive space. Some even clean the air." Lyra leaned back. That's smart. Your people think of everything. Not everything, Noah said. We still have a lot to learn. Lyra looked at him quietly. Do you want to learn about Telari things? Noah smiled. Yes, I do. She stood up. Come with me. He followed her out of the dome and down the hallway. They reached a room. It was small like his, but filled with soft lights and items from her home. Strange shapes hung from the ceiling, and the walls glowed a soft blue. Wow, Noah said. It feels calm in here. We use light and sound to balance our energy, she explained. She sat on the floor, and he sat across from her. This, she said, pointing to a small round object, is a memory stone. It holds the voices of our family. She touched it gently, and a soft humming sound began. A voice spoke in her language, slow and peaceful. My mother, she said. She spoke this when I left home. Noah listened. He didn't understand the words, but the tone was warm and full of care. That's beautiful, he said. Lyra looked down. I miss her, but I like being here, too. Noah nodded. It's hard to be far from home, but you make this ship feel like home. She smiled. You're kind. Just then, the door opened. Sela stepped in and paused. Her eyes moved from Noah to Lyra. What's going on? She asked softly. I was showing him our memory stone. Lyra said. Sela stepped closer. You shouldn't bring humans here. He's not just any human, Lyra said. Noah stood up. It's okay. I can go. I didn't mean to upset anyone. Sela looked at him. You didn't upset me. I just worry. I understand, Noah said. I know you care about your sister. Sela looked at Lyra. He's getting close to you. Lyra nodded. Yes, I want that. Sela sat down slowly. I see. Then I need to tell you something. Noah and Lyra waited. Telari twins are bonded. We feel what the other feels. If you hurt her, I feel it too. Not just emotions, but real pain. Noah looked surprised. I didn't know. It's not something we share often, Sela said. But I think you need to understand. If this becomes more than friendship, you must be very sure. Noah took a deep breath. I care about Lyra. I didn't plan this. But I won't hurt her. Sela studied him for a moment, then gave a small nod. Then I'll give you both space. But I'll be watching. Lyra touched her sister's hand. Thank you. Later, as Noah walked back to his room, he felt both nervous and hopeful. The bond between the twins was stronger than he had guessed. It wasn't just about feelings. It was something deeper, something rare. The next day, Lyra and Noah were assigned to a project together. They needed to prepare a simulation for possible plant growth on a new moon. It was a joint project between human and Telari scientists. They worked in a lab side by side. Lyra showed Noah how Telari data crystals worked, and he taught her how to use the human simulation codes. You type so fast, she said. Years of practice, he replied with a grin. They spent hours testing soil samples, adjusting lights, and watching tiny plants grow in special boxes. Lyra laughed when one sprout grew sideways. It's confused, she said. Like me when I first met you. Noah joked. She giggled. I was curious. Still am. By the end of the day, they had a full report and 3 small plants to show. We make a good team, Lyra said. Yes, we do, Noah agreed. As they walked to the dining area, Noah noticed Sela watching from a distance. She didn't speak, but gave a small nod when their eyes met. He nodded back. Something had changed. The bond was real, and now it was accepted. And for Noah, that meant more than he could say. Noah woke up feeling a little nervous. Today was the final day of the joint plant project, and the results would be shared with the ship's science council. He dressed quickly and checked his notes again. Everything had gone well so far. The plants had grown better than expected. But what made him nervous wasn't the project. It was Lyra. Their time together had changed something in him. She was kind, smart, and honest. Being with her made the ship feel more alive, and he knew he was starting to care for her in a way he hadn't planned. He arrived at the lab early. The plants were healthy, their green leaves reaching toward the soft glow lights. Lyra entered a few minutes later, holding a small container of nutrient mix. "Good morning," she said with a smile. "Morning," he replied. "Ready for today?" "Yes, but I think you're more nervous than I am." He laughed. "Maybe a little." They worked together in quiet focus, checking root strength and recording data. When they finished, they packed the samples and walked together to the main science room. The council members, a mix of humans and Telari, were already there. Sela was also in the room, sitting near the back. Her face was calm, but her eyes stayed on Noah. Noah and Lyra stood at the front and began their presentation. Noah explained the human side of the setup, while Lyra described the Telari systems used. The council listened carefully, asking questions about temperature, soil mix, and energy use. When they finished, a Telari elder stood up. "This is excellent work. The cooperation between your two methods shows great promise." A human officer nodded. "Yes, it's a strong step toward joint farming efforts on new worlds." "Well done." Lyra smiled, and Noah felt relief wash over him. After the meeting, they walked out into the hallway. "We did it," Noah said. "Yes," Lyra replied. "I'm proud of us." They stopped walking. Noah looked at her and took a breath. "Lyra, I like working with you, but it's more than that. I care about you. A lot." She looked into his eyes. "I care about you, too. Since that first strange day." They stood close now, not touching, but the space between them felt warm. "I don't know what happens next," he said, "but I want to find out." She smiled gently. "Me too." That evening, they met in the garden dome again. This time, Sela joined them. The three sat in a quiet circle. The stars above shimmered through the clear dome roof. Sela spoke first. "I've thought about everything. About you, too." Noah and Lyra listened. "I was afraid," Sela said. "Afraid that if she got too close, she'd be hurt. And I would feel it, too." Lyra placed her hand over Sela's. "I understand." Sela looked at Noah. "But now I see she is happy. And I don't feel pain. I feel peace. That means something." Noah nodded. "I promise to always respect that bond." Sela gave a small smile. "Then you both have my support." The next few days moved quickly. People on the ship began to notice the friendship between Noah and Lyra growing into something deeper. Some were surprised, but most were accepting. Humans and Telari were learning from each other in many ways, and this was just another step. One night, as Noah and Lyra walked through a quiet hallway, she stopped suddenly. "Noah," she said, "there's something else." "What is it?" "Telari don't just bond with words. We bond with light. It's how we share truth." He looked at her, curious. "How does it work?" She pulled a small device from her belt. A crystal inside glowed soft white. "This is called a link gem. If we both touch it while speaking from the heart, it records our bond." "You want to do that?" "Only if you do." Noah reached out and placed his hand beside hers on the gem. They both looked into each other's eyes. "I want to know you better," Noah said, "and I want to share my life with you." Lyra nodded. "And I want to walk beside you wherever we go." The gem pulsed once, then glowed bright blue, then faded. "It is done," Lyra said softly. Noah smiled. "Then I guess we're bonded now." She leaned close. "Yes, we are." In the quiet of space, two very different beings found something rare. Not just a friendship, not just a project, but a beginning, something true. Days passed quietly after the bonding. Life on the ship went on as usual, but something had clearly changed between Noah and Lyra. They still worked and talked like before, but now there was a quiet understanding between them, a warmth. They didn't need to say much. A glance or a small smile was enough. Even Sela seemed more relaxed. She still watched over her sister, but now her eyes showed trust instead of worry. One afternoon, the ship's main alarm rang. A red light flashed in the halls. Noah rushed to the nearest console and checked the alert. There had been a system failure in the terraforming lab. It was where many delicate machines were kept. He grabbed his toolkit and ran. When he reached the lab, he saw smoke coming from one of the control panels. Lyra and Sela were already there, try and stop a spreading fire with emergency foam. "What happened?" he shouted. "One of the coolant pipes broke," Lyra replied. "The heat started a fire near the power source. We have to cut power before it spreads to the oxygen system," Noah said. He ran to the control unit, sparks flying around him. The touch screen was broken, so he used a manual override. It took a few seconds, but finally the lights dimmed and the alarm stopped. The fire hissed out. The three of them stood still, breathing hard. "Is everyone okay?" Noah asked. "Yes," Lyra said, wiping her face. "You stopped it just in time." Scylla nodded. That was too close. Later, after the area was sealed and the damage checked, they sat in the small break room. Noah held a cold drink against his forehead. "Well, that was exciting." Lyra laughed softly. "I don't want that kind of excitement again." Scylla looked at them both. "You two work well together, even in danger." "We make a good team," Noah said. That night, Noah lay awake in his room. His body was tired, but his mind was full. The fire had scared him, not for himself, but for Lyra. Seeing her in danger made his heart twist. He didn't want to lose her. He got up and walked to the observation deck. It was late, so no one else was there. The stars outside were quiet, peaceful. A few minutes later, he heard soft footsteps. Lyra appeared beside him. "I thought you might be here," she said. "Couldn't sleep," Noah replied. They stood together, looking out. "I was scared today," Lyra said. "Me too," Noah admitted. She turned to him. "I don't want to lose what we have." He took her hand. "You won't. I'm here. Always." She leaned her head on his shoulder, and they stood like that for a long time. Over the next few days, repairs kept them busy. The damage from the fire had been worse than expected. Noah led a small team of engineers, while Lyra helped with system checks. Scylla assisted with safety scans. During a short break, Scylla pulled Noah aside. "Can I speak with you?" He nodded and followed her to a quiet corner. "You've done more than I thought possible," she said. "You've kept my sister safe. You've given her joy." "I care about her," Noah said simply. "Then I need to tell you something else about Telari bonds," she said. "When we bond, it's not only emotional. In time, it becomes something physical. Our energy connects. If the bond is broken too soon, it causes harm. To both of you?" "Yes." Noah nodded slowly. "I understand. I won't hurt her." Scylla looked into his eyes. "Then you should know this. You're not just part of her life now. You're part of mine too. I can't feel your thoughts, but your actions reach me." Noah felt the weight of her words and answered with honesty. "Then I'll make sure they're good actions." Later that evening, the crew gathered in the mess hall for a small celebration. The fire had been contained, and no one was hurt. The ship's captain gave a short speech, praising the teamwork and bravery shown by all. Noah sat at a table with Lyra and Scylla. Lights hung above, and music played softly in the background. Lyra reached for his hand under the table. "Thank you," she said. "For what?" "For being here. For being real." Noah smiled. "There's nowhere else I'd rather be." As laughter and voices filled the room, the three of them sat together, not just as friends or co-workers, but as something more, something stronger. Outside the ship, stars continued their quiet dance. Inside, a bond born from accent and trust grew brighter each day. A week after the fire, peace had returned to the ship. The systems were stable again, and work went back to normal. But for Noah, Lyra, and Scylla, nothing felt like it used to. Their bond had changed. They were no longer just passengers on the same vessel. They were part of each other's lives in a deep way. One morning, a message arrived from the Telari High Council. Lyra and Scylla were asked to report back for a full report on their time with the humans. It was part of a cultural exchange agreement. They had known this day would come, but it still felt sudden. Lyra read the message again and again. She sat quietly in the garden dome, her thoughts heavy. Noah found her there, sitting by the tall plants they had cared for together. "I saw the message," Noah said as he sat beside her. She nodded. "They want a full report. And after that, we might be reassigned." "Reassigned?" "Yes." The The council may send us to another station, maybe back to Telari space. Noah looked at her. Do you want to go? I don't know. My duty says yes. My heart says no. Sela joined them a moment later, holding her own copy of the message. They want us back for 3 cycles, she said. That's a long time. Lyra looked at Noah. What if we go and don't come back? He took her hand. Then we find a way. I'll come to your world if I have to. Sela watched them quietly. The council may not accept your bond. It's new. It's rare. Noah nodded. Then we prove it's real. The next few days moved fast. Lyra and Sela prepared their reports. Noah helped gather files and notes about the joint projects. The Telari ship arrived quietly and docked beside the station. Before boarding, Lyra asked to meet Noah one last time in the garden dome. He was already there, waiting. She walked in slowly, wearing a soft glow of blue light around her, a Telari sign of deep emotion. You wore the light, he said softly. For you, she said, so you will remember. I don't need a light to remember you. She placed a small crystal in his hand. This holds our bond. It will glow if I think of you. Noah held it close. Then I'll carry it always. They stood in silence, not wanting to say goodbye. Sela appeared at the door. It's time. Lyra looked at Noah. Promise me one thing. Anything. Don't stop living your life, even if we're apart. He nodded. And you promise to come back. She smiled. I will. They touched hands one last time. Then she turned and walked out with Sela. The Telari ship left quietly. Noah stood by the observation window and watched until it disappeared into the stars. Time passed slowly after that. Days felt longer. The ship felt bigger and quieter. Noah kept busy with work, but his thoughts often drifted to Lyra. He checked the crystal she gave him every night. Sometimes it glowed faint blue. He knew she was thinking of him. Months later, a message came to the station. It was marked with the Telari seal. Noah opened it with shaking hands. It was from Lyra. The council has accepted our report. They were surprised and impressed by our work. And by you, they have agreed to open talks about future human-Telari relations. And they have agreed to one more thing. I am coming back. Noah read the message 3 times before smiling. He went to the garden dome and waited. A week later, the Telari ship returned. This time, Lyra walked out first. She looked the same, but her eyes shone brighter. Sela followed, calm and quiet as always. Lyra ran to Noah without a word. They hugged tightly, no longer worried about who saw them. You came back, he whispered. I promised, she said. Sela walked up beside them. The council said it's okay, as long as we share what we learn. Noah nodded. We will. Later that night, the 3 of them sat together in the garden dome, watching the stars. What happens now? Sela asked. We keep learning, Noah said. We keep growing, Lyra added. And so they did. Their story was not just about a strange first meeting. It was about trust, courage, and the quiet power of connection. A human and 2 alien sisters found something rare in the cold of space, and it would shine for many years to come.